All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're cracking open the investor's playbook for what might be one of the most exciting sectors on the planet, African logistics. And we're not going in blind. We're using some fantastic insights from Reconnected Africa to really get under the hood of this market so you can see the pitfalls to avoid and, more importantly, the massive opportunities just waiting for savvy investors. Let's get to it.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts with this single number, 1.4 billion. Now, on its own, it's just a huge figure, right? But what does it actually mean for someone looking to invest in the continent?
Well, that's the number of people who are now part of one single unified market. It's all thanks to the African Continental Free Trade Area. And look, this isn't just another boring trade agreement. This is a true game changer. It's creating for the first time a real shot at seamless trade across the continent. For any investor, this is ground zero.
Okay, so a 1.4 billion person market sounds incredible, but it's not some simple plug-and-play situation. There's a kind of filter here, one that weeds out the naive investors from the ones who've done their homework. So let's break down the 3 critical pitfalls that you absolutely have to steer clear of.
First up, and this is probably the most common mistake people make, is thinking in terms of single countries. That's old school thinking. The real advantage, where the smart money is going, is in cross-border integration. The best players aren't just moving stuff inside Kenya or Nigeria, they're building networks across entire regions, taking advantage of these new harmonized rules. That right there is the new frontier.
This simple little phrase just nails the second pitfall, underestimating the power of partnerships. Logistics in Africa is not a solo sport, no way. It's a super competitive space where your local relationships are your most valuable asset. Honestly, they're often your best form of protection too.
I mean, the choice here is pretty stark. You can try to go it alone and face a ton of risk, or you can build strategic partnerships. Even the giants like DHL, they rely on local partners to expand safely. Why? Because that insider knowledge, the stuff built over generations, you just can't buy that. And the third big pitfall? It's ignoring the reality on the ground. The potential is absolutely massive, sure, but so are the infrastructure challenges. We're talking about everything from jammed-up ports to unreliable power. These aren't just little headaches, they are core business risks that you have to manage. And you can see how this creates a direct chain reaction that hammers your bottom line. It starts with a bad road full of potholes, that damages your trucks, that leads to delayed deliveries, and that ultimately means lost revenue. The smart investors, they don't just sit around waiting for governments to fix this, they build their entire strategy around navigating it. Okay, so we've seen the challenges, the things that trip people up. Now for the really exciting part. Let's flip the script and talk about the 3 strategic keys that turn those very challenges into unbelievable opportunities for the investors who get it right.
This is the fundamental question, isn't it? When the physical roads aren't there, how do you bridge the gap? Well, the answer, and our first key to success, is technology.
You know, Africa has this amazing opportunity to just leapfrog over outdated systems. Think about it. Drone delivery for rural e-commerce, completely solving that tricky last-mile problem for millions of people. Or look at an app like Waze. Why did it get so popular there? Because its AI was smart enough to navigate traffic and even potholes better than any old map. Local companies are hungry for these kinds of digital tools.
Our second key is all about sustainability. And in Africa, this isn't just some feel-good ethical choice, it's just smart business. With climate change affecting everything, building green, resilient supply chains is absolutely critical for long-term survival, and it's a huge driver of innovation. And this is not some far-off theory, it's happening right now. You've got logistics hubs in Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa that are pioneering these greener supply chains. In fact, South African scientists are literally winning international awards for developing more sustainable refrigerated trucks. This isn't a niche market. This is the future of high-value logistics. The third and final key is financing. And this chart, well, it tells a massive story. There is a huge, and I do mean huge, gap between the amount of capital that logistics entrepreneurs on the continent need and what's actually available to them. So, for any high net worth individuals, for any investment funds listening, that gap, that's your front door. That's your single biggest entry point into this market. By funding these promising smaller firms, you not only have a chance at great returns, but you end up fueling competition, driving real innovation, and getting access to the absolute best talent in the industry. So, we've covered the opportunity, we've walked through the pitfalls, and we've laid out the keys to success. The big question now is, how do you take all this knowledge and turn it into an actual, concrete plan of action?
This is where the rubber meets the road. It's about creating customized implementation plans, which is a specialty of firms like Reconnected Africa. They design strategies specifically for this unique market. Because let's be honest, having a good idea is one thing, having the right ground game to make it successful is everything.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. The rules for logistics in Africa are being written as we speak. The trade routes of the future are being mapped out today. So for the informed, strategic investor, this is one of those rare moments in time, a chance not just to participate in a market, but to actually shape it. The only real question is, will you be one of the ones holding the pen?